All right, Coach, you guys are 9-0, a point that you guys have talked about probably this entire season. This is the point that you want to be at. What has been the means of success for this team?
Well, I think it starts with our players. Obviously, we've got a senior class that has and enjoyed a lot of success during their time at Bentonville, 8th grade, 9th grade, sophomore JV, and have experienced some of that same success on the varsity level. So I think our senior class is carrying us to this point, no doubt.
And you mentioned a little bit about your junior varsity and sophomore team, and a lot of people don't really understand that it starts with the younger guys, like really young, even in the junior high level.
Right.
Well, how important is it to get those guys ready and conditioned and to have success like you guys are having now?
Well, I think the one thing, if there's one thing that Coach Lunney is an expert at, he's an expert at a lot of things, I'll say that, but one of the things that he's got a lot of insight to is how to build a program. And we put a lot of effort and time into our younger group, our sophomore and JV, but it even goes further than that. We've got a wonderful, just an outstanding junior high staff in both our junior highs that have taught these kids fundamentals that we use on Friday night, that have made it a lot easier for us, that they've instilled those principles in them from an early age, and they've learned how to win at that age group, and that all makes for a good equation for us on Friday nights.
I talked to the defensive coordinator, Robbie Jones, a couple weeks ago, and I was asking him about when you guys play Fayetteville, and I was asking him about how is the team, when you come in and playing another ranked opponent, how's your team taking it? And he said there's not a lot of highs on the team, not a lot of lows. It's kind of like the guys are just, going through the motions, and they've won before, so it's not unfamiliar territory. Have you seen that right now with you guys about to go into this game?
Well, we certainly don't go into any week being, lackadaisical or overly laid back about it, but we try not to put any more emphasis on one week than another as far as we got to win this week. This is a must-win. We really hadn't had a must-win up until this point, but it's getting to that time of the year where these become must-wins. Right. We need a must-win tomorrow night to secure home field playoff advantage. We're pretty tough in our stadium, and we feel good about playing there. And and then once we start the playoffs, they become a must-win. Right. And so this is a time of year that the intensity definitely steps up. And I think our kids, or anybody in Benton County or Washington County, knows that this rivalry with Harbor has had some great games in it the last several years, and we're expecting nothing less than that tomorrow night.
Now, there's been a couple players on your team that really stood out, and your quarterback and on your running back, Terrace Wallace. What have these guys, what kind of players are these guys, and what have they brought to this team?
Well, the thing about Dallas Hardison, and I think is he's just a winner, and I hate to say it in that simple of terms because he's a lot more than that. He's deadly accurate. He's deadly smart with the football and his decision making, which ultimately has led to him winning. Being on teams that have won a lot, and but he's the guy that makes our team go. This is his football team. I firmly believe that. And he's just had another tremendous year. The games that he's been underneath the center for us the last 2 years, we feel real good about our chances to win when he's our quarterback. And then Terrace has just been, he's been a great story, coming, just kind of making a big splash on the scene last year as a former soccer player that hasn't really played much football and rushing for 1,500 yards and being a state MVP last year in the state championship game, to being on pace to rush for 1,000 yards in the regular season with, 15 or 16 touchdowns. And he's just had another great year, and obviously both of those guys and our receivers, none of it would be going if our big guys weren't doing their job, and our big guys have played good.
How has your offensive line played this year?
Well, that was a real question mark for us, Robert, coming into the year, and because we replaced 4 starters, and we had some guys that we felt like that were maybe suspects at that time, and now they've developed into prospects, and but they've really matured as a group very nicely. They've gotten progressively better. Coach Danenauer is as good as a line coach as there is in the country. I believe that. And he's got them playing at a very high level right now, and we're going to have that down the stretch if we want to continue to win.
Yep. A lot riding on this game right here. You got the 22nd straight win, top seed in the playoffs. You got home field advantage. How important would a win be for this program?
Well, it would be very important, and it would be very big for us for a number of reasons. And there's a lot that goes into that. Like you said, protecting our home field advantage. I think the win streak is probably very low on the list of priorities for us as far as what it would mean to that. The biggest thing is we want an outright conference championship. We want the #1 seed, and we don't want our seniors to lose on their senior night. And so, there's a lot at stake, and I know that Harbor will play an outstanding football game, and I firmly believe it'll be a 4-quarter football game, and I'm looking forward to watching it.
Awesome. One more question, Coach. You're a former quarterback for the Razorbacks. What is it? Arkansas has number 7. South Carolina come in, and we're number 7.
That's right.
They're number 10. What would be the key success for that game?
Well, the thing about I think, just on paper, South Carolina's really struggled scoring, and if that holds true, we're going to find a way to score again. Even though South Carolina's defense is very good, Coach Petrino is going to get some people open, and we're going to make some plays and score some points. And so, if our defense just plays well and holds South Carolina to what's kind of been part of course for them, in that 17-24 point range, I feel real good about us winning that game.
Can I get a score prediction?
I say Arkansas 31, South Carolina 17.